highest ceilings.
Yep.
With these draft picks, and I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, this is something I think you might have posted this on Twitter. I just took it from your Twitter account. But Bleacher Report placed Ausar Thompson third on their highest ceiling of the 2023 NBA draft class ahead of Scoot Henderson, which is pretty crazy because last week we talked about Scoot Henderson being on another list of potential top 10 players in the NBA in 5 seasons. Also, that list was created by Bleacher Report. You know, I looked at that list, and I think they had Amen ahead of Ausar, which, I don't know, maybe you can break it down for me. Why would they have Amen over Ausar on that list? Because they have pretty similar games. Like, what's the biggest difference between their games?
Well, before I answer that question, and other people that do listen to the audio side of this podcast, so I'll give the top 5 rankings from Bleacher Report. This is an article from them, their highest ceilings article. So they had Victor Wembanyama. Number 1, I think we can both agree, Victor Wembanyama probably has the highest ceiling out of anyone in this draft class. They had Amen Thompson, number 2. Our guy Ausar at number 3. Scoot Henderson, number 4, which I know you're probably smiling about because you're not high on him. And Brandon Miller, number 5. Now, to get to your question, why would they have Amen Thompson over Ausar Thompson? He said they had similar games. I would say Amen Thompson, to me, has a quicker first step than Ausar Thompson. And I think he's a little bit of a better passer than Ausar Thompson. Now, both of these guys, like if they develop jump shots, I think they're some of the best players out of this entire draft class. And I think that's the reason why Bleacher Report had Amen above Ausar. But I think it's just like, 1A and 1B. I think you could make a case that Ausar Thompson is a better shooter. And I think that's the one thing in their game where it leaves you wanting more. You wish they were better shooters, but I don't have a problem with this list. I was kind of surprised Brandon Miller was 5, though.
Yeah, and real quick, I think Scoot Henderson wins Rookie of the Year this upcoming season. I'm just always slower on short athletic guards over time. But for like those first 3 years, yeah, they're the most exciting guys in the NBA. I think, though, man, I'm looking at him, man, and I know he's the more natural playmaker, and he's considered like the point guard of the two. But, man, it seems like they're really gambling on him just being a fantastic playmaker instead of just an overall offensive player. I think I might give the nod to Ausar just because he brings it more defensively than Amen, according to what they were writing. But, yeah, I am a little surprised they have Brandon Miller at number 5. That just feels like they really honestly wanted to leave him out of the list. But you couldn't do it because he was the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah. I don't really have a problem with this like highest ceilings list because I think all of these guys are going to be multiple time All-Stars throughout their career. I really do. I think the one thing with Brandon Miller where kind of leaves me wanting more also is like his separation. Because there's a lot of times where like he can't get separation from his defender and his shot is you can block it very easily. I think that's one thing that he needs to work on, and I think he will because he's how high I was on Brandon Miller all last winter, this summer. Like I really wanted Brandon Miller. I thought he would fit like a glove next to Kate, but I'm still very high on the Brandon Miller hype train. I think he's going to be a really good player, and I think going to a place like Charlotte, where you get to play with players like LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges, I think you're going to see games where, he might explode for 25 to 30 points because he gets to play with players like that.
Yeah. Man, yeah, it is really hard to argue with this list, but I just think it also is kind of funny that why put Scoot on a list where I think they put him 6th to be one of the 10 best players in the NBA in 5 years, but then they move him down behind both the Thompson twins on this list where, I'm glad that they agree with me because, there's a higher ceiling for 6'7" playmakers than there is for 6'2" playmakers. I just don't know why Amen gets the slight edge, because Ausar had better assist numbers, he had better shooting numbers, and both their handles seem pretty tight. And really, from like what we've seen from Ausar, and I have not watched Amen because I mean I'm a Pistons fan. He seems like such a fantastic playmaker that I think even if you were to put Ausar and had him play point guard, he'd probably still do pretty well. But I think the biggest difference is he really seems like someone that could be an all NBA defensive player multiple times throughout his career. And I just don't know if you're getting the same thing from his brother. I really do think you have to give the slight edge to Ausar, just by a little bit, because even the stats suggest he's a better player right now than Amen. And I think he has more building blocks to build off of than Amen does. Like with Amen, it just seems like there's a little bit more mystery to his game. Like if he's not a natural playmaker or if he's not a point guard, where does he play on the floor? Which, I mean, he's 6'7", he can probably play anywhere. But with Ausar, there just seems to be more versatility to his game, where if you can't put him here, there's still multiple other places you could put him and he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that with the men, I understand it. And I think what maybe a lot of, because you only got to see one summer league game, but if you did watch a lot of OTE games, overtime elite games, Amen Thompson was more of the facilitator, and just his first step is so quick to where he can get to the basket at will. And I think that, to me, that's what separates him versus Ausar. But I think Ausar, to me, is going to be a better shooter long-term in the NBA, because I think he's worked on it more. I think that's something where when you look at the two, you're like, okay, Ausar, to me, probably going to be the better shooter, but Amen's going to be that kind of point forward that just can get to the basket whenever he wants. It's because he's got such a quick first step.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, I'd have to see like some 40 times or something, or how they all do in like the 10-yard sprint to really see that explosiveness. Because I don't know, Ausar has a pretty quick first step. He's going to beat a lot of guys off the dribble, especially if that 3-point shot develops and they're trying to run him off the 3-point line. I don't feel like anybody's going to be able to stay in front of him, and I don't know how much quicker Amen is than him, but it just seems like the smallest of things that they're giving him the edge in over Ausar.